Hello, um, I am Joanne Payne, and I am here today reluctantly uh, because I try to stay away from anything that's, ugh, you know, to so that I can like kind of vibrate on a higher level and stay in like my little positive bubble. Um, but I because I think something happened yesterday, and I think it's time that I just put something out there. Um, Yesterday, there were like helicopters constantly going back and forth, and they were loud. First of all, I didn't know what it was. I was like, "What is that noise?" These were like big helicopters too, not like the little cutesy little dragonfly looking ones. These were something major. And I didn't know what was happening. So I had to do the thing that I never do, and that is turn on some news. And I saw the breaking news in this region is that a GBI agent shot and killed someone. They were serving an arrest warrant. And I could tell where it was that dude is probably black. I'm like, oh God, no, not again. I mean, time we healed from the last riots, or healed, lack of a better word, time we started to get back to, well, I can't even say normal. It hasn't been normal in 2020 yet. But time things started to not think about that anymore. Something else happens, and I'm like, oh no. And there's this panic that sets in, like, what are people gonna do? I know what they're gonna do. You just know, because that is what people do. And that quote that you saw, InSanity, doing the same thing and expecting different results, by Albert Einstein, is applicable right here. And I'm going to tell you this first. I understand the anger. Not only are you tired of seeing certain things, however, this COVID thing where people are quarantined, jobs are lost, there's a lot of upheaval. So it only takes this much. It takes like half of a fart to push people over the edge now. All right. But so I get why you're angry. I get it. But just because you're angry doesn't mean that their rules don't still apply. Okay. The rules still apply. And let me tell you about the rules, because you did learn them, because I know I'm one of the people who teach the rules. It's called emotional regulation, and you are taught it in school. And if your parents are worth their salt, they taught it to you also. And what it means is that just because little Johnny um, laughed at you, you don't have the right to go and break his pencil. Or because little Amir said you look like you got your hair cut at Walmart, you don't have the right to go and rip up his notebook or empty his book bag. Okay? Um, just because little Michelle laughed at you and was pointing at you when you farted, when you sneezed, you don't have the right to scribble on her test paper. I mean, emotional regulation says it is okay to have emotions. It is okay to have the full array of them. It's okay to be upset, but it is not okay to destroy other people's stuff because you're upset. That is not acceptable. It is just not. And even though things are happening that you don't like, number one, what you're doing isn't working, because if it was, guess what? You wouldn't have to do it anymore. It'd be over. Be like, hey, that last riot worked. Yeah, we don't ever have to go back out again. We never ever had this happen again. So there's something wrong in what you're doing and how you're doing it. It's ineffective. Okay. What you're doing is destroying the property, destroying the lifetime work, generational wealth of families. Some people cannot regroup after you destroy their property and loot their store. And that's something that they could be first generation, they could be 10 generations in. It doesn't matter. That's not okay behavior. And nobody's saying it. That's not okay. It's not okay. The second thing I have to say is, and I can do it this way a little easier. I'm from Newark, New Jersey originally, and I remember since I was a child, these tall, some of the whitest guys I've ever seen in my life, friendliest guys I ever saw. And I realized they were Mormons when I grew up. They were Mormons, but they would walk around and they would talk about like Jesus and love, and they give you these cute little Bibles, green or orange. But they walked around Newark. They walked in areas I wouldn't walk in. They'd come day or night. They didn't care. They had a mission and they came to Newark. And guess what? Nobody ever messed with them. And in all these years, no one has heard of one of those boys being robbed, hurt. They walked in places I was scared, and I was from Newark. So what I'm telling you is, how could they do that? You're not thinking. There's a parallel here. You have to draw the lines. I'm not going to just put everything out. But successful change is legislation, okay? Think about what worked in the past to get real change. If you can't think, Montgomery, Alabama boycott, what did they do differently than you? Because they did not go out there destroying stuff, but they got exactly what they wanted. What did they do differently than you? Because your methods are madness and they need to stop. That's all. Be peaceful. Use common sense, even though unfortunately, common sense is not common.